So today what we will be doing, we will be completing the final task 7 where we will be going through few of the XSS challenges. I am not going to explain what XSS is or like how many types of XSS are. Like maybe in future definitely we'll get more into the XSS part. XSS stands for cross-site scripting bugs. So mostly it's kind of injecting your own JavaScript code into the existing website. So that's what it is. For the time being, we are not going to go in more details. What exactly XSS is, how many types are there. Just some basics that there are three different types of XSS. Reflected, persistent, DOM based. Persistent is also known as stored XSS. So in reflected case, JavaScript is only stored uh, in the website for that particular page only. Like you will be injecting in the URL, and whoever loads that particular URL, they will be affected by reflected XSS only. Okay, so the user interaction is required in that case. Like user needs to open that particular URL so that our injected code gets executed. In persistent XSS or stored XSS, we inject in kind of a functionality where our data is getting stored in the database. For example, comment functionality, or what you say, contact us functionality, right? Where we are sending some data, it will be stored on the database. Then whenever someone sees that data, like suppose someone comes to that page to see comments, right? Then these kind of accesses or these kind of codes will be executed. So that's why, like, because it is being stored on the database, that's why it is called persistent or stored accesses. DOM based are like in the DOM, document object model accesses. So in these cases, like it's a very common question actually. What is the difference between reflected XSS and DOM XSS? So the difference is, in case of the reflected XSS, whatever injection or whatever script we are trying to inject, that will be sent to the server, and server will reflect it in the response that is coming back to the browser. Okay, while in case of the DOM XSS is purely browser side only. Okay, the whatever code you are injecting, that is not going to go to the server, it will be on the client side only. So there are like a lot of functionalities in websites where the page gets updated immediately based on the user input. Okay, but the page is not being updated on the server side, it is only on the client side only. Okay, so in those kind of scenarios, DOM is actually used. Okay, document object model is used. I'm not sure if you are aware of this thing, but sometimes if you have seen this kind of code, document dot get element by id, right? And then there is some id in between, and then there is a something like this inner HTML, and then like something like this. So these kind of things, okay, this is kind of accessing the DOM, okay, in the JavaScript only. And what it will do, whatever element in the HTML code is having an ID called ID, it is going to update the HTML code for that, and it will update it to this got updated like this. So these kind of things like document, these kind of things are done using DOM. Okay, so when we try to find bug in these kind of functionality, then it is called DOM XSS. Main difference is, in case of DOM XSS, request is not going to go to the server side, and in case of the reflected XSS and persistent XSS, request will go to the server. Okay, so that is the main difference. We will not go more detail now apart from this. So there is first question, perform a DOM based XSS. Okay, so this payload they have already given. I will just explain what it is. Iframe, I guess it is pretty clear that it's an HTML tag iframe to add a different page in our website only. For example, this is the TryHackMe website. Now if I want to load a different website in this page only, like within a box, okay, then what I can do, I can use iframe, then space src equals to, and then the URL of that page I can give here. Right now what they have done in the URL part, they have given this JavaScript alert XSS. So what it will do, whenever this iframe will be loaded on the page, it will give us an alert in the alert box. Okay, and it will print XSS. So let's see how we can exploit this one. I will just copy it. uh, Before that, I have to open the target website, our OWASP Juice-Shop. So most of the time XSS, like the common functionality where you should be checking for XSS. First one is definitely the search box, because whatever you search, most of the time it will be reflected on the page. So wherever user input is reflected, okay, on the page, okay, it could be because of several reasons. It could be a reflected XSS, it could, like there you can find a reflected, you can find a DOM XSS, or maybe it is stored XSS. Okay, so it depends on the scenario, but you should be always checking in the search box for XSS. Okay, so we'll directly copy this part, and in the search part I will show you what is happening. I'll press F12. Let's see some simple thing. Okay, if I'm searching for testing, you see that even though I am under the network tab, right, I search for testing, nothing, there is no request going to the server. Okay, now what does this mean? How is it updating this part here that search results for testing, there are no results and everything? Because this whole functionality is on the browser side only. Okay, like it is not sending any request to the server saying that whatever matches to testing, give me those results so that I will update. Most of the time it does happen that a query string or a search term will be sent to the server, and server will return uh, the kind of data that is matching to that keyword. Okay, but it is also possible that it is implemented on the client side only. Okay, see now how exactly it is done. If I right click view source, just a moment, let me see if I can find how it is being implemented here. Okay, there are a lot of JavaScript and everything, so I'm not sure if we will be able to find that exact code. But you can understand from this perspective only that whenever we search for something and press enter, or like if I search for something else like Mogembo, if I search for it, right, and press enter, even though the data on the page is changing, that search results for Mogembo, still in the network tab we didn't see any request going, but still the page got updated. So definitely the DOM is being updated based on the user input. Okay, so in this case whatever XSS we find, that will be DOM based XSS only. Okay, so just wanted to clarify that point. For the reflected one I will show you what was the difference, okay, compared to this part. So just remember, in case of the DOM XSS, whenever we are trying to give some user input, the request is not being sent to the server. Okay, and if we find an XSS bug here, like if we are able to inject the XSS uh, payload like this one, then it would be a DOM based XSS. Let's now just try to search for this particular term. Okay, I will again try to, let me just check for something. If I are searching for testing, right, we are getting testing here, right? So yeah, if I right click here and I search for testing, let me see how many times I am getting testing. This is one. Okay, testing is being populated here. Now instead of testing, what if I put this whole thing? If it gets injected in the page instead of testing here, right, that means this will be executed, like a iframe will be loaded with a source that would be JavaScript alert, so it will show us an alert. Let's see if it is working or not. I'll put it here in the search box. See, as soon as I put it, I get an alert box. So definitely XSS, DOM based XSS is there. Also you can see here in the code that whatever we put in the search box, right, that got inserted here exactly how it was. So that's why, because it got injected uh, without any sanitization or without any protection, that's why it will be rendered by the browser as an iframe, and it will execute this whole part which will trigger this alert. Okay, so now we got this flag because we were able to trigger an DOM based XSS. So I'll just copy this to the clipboard and I'll just put it here. So now let's move on to the this part of perform a persistent access. Now I already told you persistent means it is being stored on the database. Okay, so for this we they are already telling us that there is a functionality in the admin account where it is logging the last login IP. So let me go. I already logged in as the admin account with the admin email address and password as admin123. Now go to this privacy security and last login IP. Here you see that the IP address is being shown IP address 000. Okay, I'll press F12 just to see whenever I'm loading this particular page what is happening. So I will reload this page, and this is the first request that is being sent. Then do we have anything else with, okay, just a moment, request. We should be looking for this particular page, privacy security. Okay, let's use burp shoot to find out this particular request. It's getting messy with developer tools. So what we'll do, we'll open the same website in burp shoot, and then when we try to load, let's see how this IP address is coming on this page. Okay, so then we'll understand whether we can find an XSS in that part or not. So yeah, now we'll just open it quickly, and then we'll start burp shoot internal, or what is it called? It's called embedded browser. And then we'll try to access this particular website here only. So yeah, this is the endpoint, or I will just access the website and then we'll go to that particular endpoint. So yeah, and the account is admin at the rate juice-shop. Okay, fine. So I will put it here. I'll put the Burpsuite browser here. We will now log in with the admin account. So the account is admin at the rate juice-shop. Password is admin123. We found it in the last session. Now let's log in. Now we'll go to our privacy security and then last login IP. Now see, I will turn on the intercept and I will reload this website. See, let's see how it is trying to find this particular IP here. So this is one request. There is no IP here. We will forward this request. Okay, then there is another request with the application configuration. Okay, so there is nothing here. Let's try to reload again. Let's see if there is anything coming in the response. I'll have to turn on the intercept. Just a moment. Turn on the intercept, again reload the website. I will intercept the response for this request. So intercept the response, forward it, and in the response we are getting 304 modified. Okay, now last time also I told you we do not want this 304 modified because it means just load the cache from the browser. So what I want the latest copy of this page. So for that, what I will have to do, I'll again turn on the intercept. I will reload this website. I'll have to remove these if modified and if none match headers from here, if I want a latest copy, not a cached copy. Okay, so now I will forward this request. Okay, I made a mistake. I had to intercept the response. Again, I will do it, just a moment. I'll turn the intercept on, reload this thing, remove these headers, intercept the request, intercept the response. Now we will forward it. In the response, you can see here that here we don't have anything actually. Last modified, okay, it is there. There is no IP here actually, or is it there? 0 dot 0 dot. Okay, it is not here actually. We'll forward this request, forward the next request as well. Now let's see if we try to intercept this request. There is another application configuration here also. I will remove this header so that I get the latest response. I will intercept this response as well. I'm looking for like from where this IP is coming. Then this request is also there. This is english.json. I don't think it is important. This also doesn't seem to be important, but still I will intercept the response. Then there is application version. I'm trying to intercept all the responses. I will look for this particular IP. Okay, this is not there. This is not there. This is the response from the first, this particular endpoint. This is the response from the other one. Just a moment, let's just look at. Okay, so for this particular challenge, we have to find persistent XSS or stored XSS in this last login IP. What we'll do, if we try to intercept this particular request. Okay, so as it logs the last login IP, we'll now log out so that it. Okay. So this login IP is only being stored whenever we log out actually. So there it is being sent or in the headers. Okay, there is a header called true client IP. So we'll have to log out to capture this particular header. Okay, so what I will do, I will open it in my browser here. Now what I will do, let me clear all the history that I have already there. And now what I will do, I will intercept the request. I will log out from here. Okay, just a moment. Let me quickly log out from here. Okay, I have logged out, and now let's go to our HTTP history here and see if we have any request. Yeah, see, there is a request that was sent to this res/save login IP, right? So that request was there, and in the headers, do we have anything? Just a moment. So this is one thing. See, this is the response that is coming, and the last login IP is this one. But from where is it exactly sending this particular thing? Yeah, so yeah, this is the exact request. Okay, so now what we are supposed to do, it is like when we are sending this request, it is automatically finding from where it is coming. So that would be our IP, and it is storing that IP. Let me show you. It is storing that IP in the response. We can see, right, there is a last login IP thing that is storing our IP in the response. We are getting this part, so it is storing it on the server actually, that with what IP we logged in. So now what we are supposed to do, in case we want to change our, like, spoof our what you say, IP, there are particular headers actually that we can use, with which we can spoof the origin IP. Okay, so for that, one is true client IP, another ones are similar to, like, this there is a X forward IP as well. So we will use this true client IP for the timing. Let me show you, let me send this request to repeater. I will show you whether the response, in the response, that stored IP is changing or not. Okay, so let's put that true client IP colon, and I will just put here, let's see if we put test and if it is working. If I put test, you can see, right, and the database is storing the last login IP as test, because we are getting it in the response. Now instead of test, what I can do, because it is being stored on the server, what I can do here, I can inject the XSS payload. The XSS payload would be same here, but it will be stored on the server actually. So I'm sending this part now in the true client IP header. I will send it. You can see it got stored on the server. Few of the things are being escaped here actually, but let's see now, where is this data being shown? It is shown on your, what you say, it is being shown on the admin account, right? So if I go login, I again log in as the admin user, admin at the rate, that was juice-sh.op, password was admin123. Now what I will do, I will go to that same functionality, and if our injection is successful, we should get an alert here, because it will try to show us the IP, but in the IP our payload is there. So see, as soon as I try to load, I'm getting an alert here, because our image payload that we sent, right, in the in the true client IP header, right, that got stored here. So this is how we have performed a stored. Now whoever visits, like whenever this admin account visits this particular page, right, this particular page to see the last login IP, he is going to see uh, this alert box, okay, because it got stored on the database. So that's how you can perform the uh, persistent or stored XSS on this OWASP Juice-Shop. So now we'll just try to find out the flag so that we can complete this part. Let me see if we have it here or not. Yeah, we have it here. I will put it and then we'll move on to the reflected XSS part. So yeah, now in the reflected part, we mostly try to inject in the URL parameters or in the search box, okay? And it is reflected in the response of the page, okay? Like whenever you put something in the URL and put and press enter, it is will be reflected in the page source code, okay? So if it is happening, then we understand that reflected access is there, okay? But in case of reflected, it is not going to be stored on the database, okay? So they are saying that there is one reflected XSS on the order history. So if we log into the admin account again with the same email address, admin juice assets.op, password as admin123, so we should be checking every parameter actually to see whether it is, like, if we are putting some input in that parameter or in that functionality, it is whether it is being reflected on the page or not, okay? So that's how, if we go to orders and payment and go to order history, and there is a track order button right here, right? If I try to track this particular order, you see that there is an ID parameter here, okay? And you can see that this ID parameter is reflected directly here on the page, right? So it means if I try to search for this particular ID parameter in the source code, like if I right click and view it in the source code, here I don't see it because this whole website is kind of combination of a lot of things. So that's why you directly don't see it in the source code, but you can see that it is being reflected on the page, okay? Let's see if we change it to something else, whether it is being reflected or not. Like if I change it to testing, okay? So you see that on the page it is reflected as testing. So whatever you put in the ID parameter, it is being reflected here. So now what if we inject the XSS payload here, if it gets injected without any sanitization or any protection, then it would be again in reflected XSS, okay? So we will again use our same XSS payload, iframe one, try to inject an iframe with the JavaScript alert. I'll put it here and then I will press enter. As soon as I press enter, once it gets loaded and if it got injected successfully, we'll get an XSS, and here it is, okay? So this way we found and reflected XSS as well, and we can find the flag here. So I'll just copy it and paste it here to complete our lab. Now, so that was about XSS. We found DOM XSS, stored XSS, and reflected XSS. Now this is the exploration part of this particular OS Juice-Shop room. So there are a lot of challenges actually on this OWASP Juice-Shop. If you want to see all of those, what you can do, you can go to score. I guess it is card or board. It is, no, it is board, I guess. BOARD. So when you access this page, you see there are a lot of challenges. Some challenges are 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. So if you click on show all, you will be able to see all the challenges here, okay? And if you want to complete these, you can just to practice, okay? So that is what is mentioned under the task gate. So we'll just see. um, it is asking for a flag that we get when we access the scoreboard. So that is this one. So we'll just put it, and that way we will complete our juice shop room on TryHackMe. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you.